Thank you, everyone, for being present with me today. And it's a pleasure to get to speak to you and to share a little bit about service level management and what we're doing at Fiserv. So I'm going to walk through this. My topic today is do's and don'ts of service level management. And this is just from my experience. So I'm going to share a little bit with you about what we've been able to do, some of the hard lessons I've learned along the way. And I hope that this will be helpful for you. So I am from Fiserv. We are one of the Fortune 500 companies for the 7th consecutive year. We have a lot of as you know, financial services, Clover, one of our very big ones for small businesses, and many community helps and efforts, initiatives to be out in the community and to be helping businesses. A lot of good things going on at this company. So service level management is obviously one of the things that we are doing to ensure that we're keeping client commitments. So, client commitments are extremely challenging to keep track of in a world like this that is so fast moving. And so part of what we're doing is trying to stay ahead of the curve, make sure that we always have awareness and an insight into what, not only what we're promising, but what the consequences are, what our obligations are, and making sure that we're always staying current. So before I talk about do's and don'ts today, I want to talk about some of just the principles. These aren't do's and don'ts. This is more around what what a program actually consists of, and what are some of those things that are an essential part of a service level management program. So every organization needs to monitor the promises they make. Service level management specifically monitors client or customer contractual commitments. One of the pitfalls, I think, is trying to measure everything. There are contractual commitments to our customers. Those are legally binding. And so when we present service level agreements, we need to be careful to not allow measurements, nice to have information, data. There are a lot of things we can give to our clients. We want to make sure not to call those service level agreements unless they actually are, right? So I also feel that honest assessment of quality, what the actual impact is to the commitments we make, that requires a check and balance function. It's never good to only have, for instance, let's say, an IT perspective, or only a business perspective without IT, or only our client service partners, account managers, only theirs, but not IT or business. There need to be the involvement of all of those groups together and a check and balance function. And that's part of what service level management provides is there is accountability, but also sometimes it's just as simple as bringing those groups together and allowing them to have a conversation so that everyone's on the same page. Service level management also depends on very strong ownership of impact from the correct groups. If a group owns the impact that was caused, it's very important. If you have groups that will not accept their ownership or their responsibility, the program is fundamentally going to be flawed. So keep that in mind, that accountability is incredibly important. Sometimes service level management gets overwhelming, and it's very important to remember that, go back to the bullets, right? Go back to the very primary essential functions. The primary function of service level management is to intake SLA requirements, to measure them, to report them, and to repeat. And so when you start being overwhelmed by all the other many, many things, remember that you can go back to the basics and just perform the fundamental functions of intaking those requirements, measuring them, reporting them, and then repeating that cycle for the next month reporting. And that often helps me to go back to that, to the basics. And agility is everything. Change wherever you are, whatever your industry or your business, change is coming always. And it's so important to keep an eye on that and understand that, just about the time when you get things right where you want them, something is going to come along and change that for you. So being ready for that in advance will save you a lot of headaches. So, all right, so let's talk about setting our SLM sites high and focused on the right goals. And I'm going to share with you some of the do's and don'ts in several areas where I have personally come to understand, maybe on a deeper level, what the real responsibilities and what makes a program work well. So the first one I want to talk about is support. I touched on this in the principles. Some of the things that I've learned to do is to partner to create two-way awareness. Also to solicit lessons learned. Sometimes we're not always in a service level management function. We're not always on the front lines. We're not always hearing the client. So be willing to listen. And I think I say that several times today. I think it's a very important principle to listen to where people are, listen to what those client needs are, and integrate those into your program. Partner for adoption. People don't know how to participate with you if you don't share that with them. So share that, and you will see adoption of this service level management program grow tremendously when you are working to partner with your internal businesses, invest in IT, service partners, account managers. So, and also partner to eliminate overlap. You don't need to be doing everything. So make sure that you understand what the business is doing and what they're willing to provide. And you can build that partnership and fill in the gaps. I think that one of the worst things I've ever done in this program is to feel that I had so much going on that I needed to just isolate myself so that I could do my job, keep my eyes on what I was doing, and just keep my program running smoothly. It's a mistake, I feel. So different ways that different reasons you can isolate might be to save time. In the long run, you save time by partnering well and understanding and working with others. Protecting the integrity of the data, having that need to shut everything down, to shut it off and not let people into the data, not let anything be touched. Instead, work with source systems around the organization, work to be an advocate for them and partner with them and say, okay, if you want to be part of the service level management program, you want your contracts to be supported, make sure you're using these source systems and go through those and be an advocate for them. It will also help to improve your own data integrity. Don't isolate just to lessen complaints. This is service level management is a highly sensitive area because it's about quality, it's about ownership. So instead of trying to shut out the complaints that come at you on a regular basis, work to win over your internal partners, make them partners with you, and it will take you a long way. And to avoid scrutiny, allow transparency into the data. It builds integrity, it builds trust. Be willing to put it out there. Be willing to know that sometimes you will make mistakes. And I said recently to my boss that this is about perfection because we're reporting quality. Everything always feels like it has to be perfect. So there's room for opening the information up and allowing other people to provide feedback and just being willing to change. Sometimes that can be a hard thing to do when you're trying to run a very large program. All right, so let's talk about product. Product awareness can be challenging when we're in industries that are fast moving, fast growing, and we have new products all the time. Just accept that challenge. That's what I have done, trying to understand what the products are, trying to understand what's new and what's coming next. And be a good listener. That's why I said that before. Reach out to others who have the knowledge you need and engage them and understand from them. Constantly being a learner in this environment has paid off greatly, I think, for me. Keep versatility in your measurement model. Oh my goodness, we're always measuring something new. There's so much change. Keep versatility in that model. It will aid growth. It will aid your scalability, your expansion, and you will be able to change and move with the times. So some of the don'ts that I have learned: don't underestimate the commodity, the advantage of being able to pivot quickly. If you can quickly move to support a brand new type of metric that's never existed before, what an incredible flexibility and scalability capability that is. Don't forget that contract SLAs increase in complexity. They increase in stringency. The goals are always going to be higher. Clients are going to want, when they renew a contract, they're going to want a higher goal the next time. Just keep in mind that this is our little window between where we can operate, and perfection is constantly closing. That's a gap that's constantly closing. We have to do better. We have to offer better. We have to increase performance, and be prepared for that, because you'll have to make internal changes in order to support it. And you'll need to do it in a way that pivots quickly, right? Don't fail to anticipate new types of measurements and reporting scenarios. A little bit about what I was talking about, but if you think about it in terms of reporting, new types of templates or dashboards or scorecards. Right now, we've recently in the past few years gone through a very large merger, and so taking scorecards that clients were used to having a couple from different areas, being able to bring those together and put them into one comprehensive scorecard where that client gets to see in one place their entire relationship with you was a powerful, powerful tool. So be thinking about things like that where you can increase your flexibility and add new components to what you do. Development. Let's talk about technology and platform. My perspective on this is service level management is a business process first. Keep your development very lean, reusable, flexible. Leverage technology. It's incredibly important. There has to be a strong platform. There has to be a strong tool set in order to meet these capabilities, but keep vigilance, keep a constant watch and awareness on it. And then retire things, eliminate extra reporting templates, old ways of doing things every time you get a chance. Sometimes today's Friday for me, and sometimes on Fridays, I carve out just a little bit of time to go through the data and clean out old tables or old report templates or something, just to look for things that are no longer needed, that are not part of our go forward program, and to find a way out of those and into the new model. I find that to be an incredibly important concept. And then technology in itself, don't let technology become the goal. Allow it to support where it's needed, but technology in itself is not the goal. The goal is transparent communication with your clients, adherence to the promises and to the commitments you've made. That is the goal. So don't develop yourself into a corner. Stay in control of that vision. Sometimes if you get to developing too much, you can find that it's very difficult to back out if something changes. So staying in control of the vision is something that has helped me very much. And in the same thought, don't over architect or build new every time. Always be looking for ways to build smarter, more flexibility, more scalability, newer tools and resources that are available. Don't be afraid to research what's on the market and be willing to move into something new. Embrace the change, embrace change. Okay. Analytics and reporting. I love this topic. You can see I've got a lot of bullets and content here. Utilize internal analytics. The primary, when I said at the beginning, one of the principles is you report to the clients and you repeat. As you get extra time, one of the best places I have found to focus is on internal analytics. There is a goldmine of information around clients, customers, and products, and where the pain is. If you're experiencing issues in a certain area, often service level management is the place that has that information. But if we're not sharing it, then we're not assisting our organization in becoming better. So spend any extra time you have, be thinking about internal analytics for transparency, for investment. That's a great place to put your intelligence, is where should we be investing to make things better? This is also a place where you can let your work shine. You've worked so hard. You've put so much effort into this. You have a wealth of knowledge and data. Let your work shine both internally and externally with your customers and with your internal partners. And stay aware of business challenges and use the data you have to provide insight into real-time challenges that your organization might be undergoing. Brand manage. This is very important and has been a favorite topic of mine. Make sure that your templates, your reporting, do a good job of representing your organization. Use the most current templates you have, use your logos, your colors, and make sure that you have confidentiality, copyrights. Just make sure that you do a good job of brand managing. One of the things it will do is it will help your customers differentiate between your service level management reporting, which is very official, legally binding, right, documents. It will help them differentiate between that and possibly anything else they're receiving. It will set you apart. It will enforce the professionalism of what you're producing. It's incredibly important. So make sure that you take opportunity to let all your hard work shine through your presentation. Some of the don'ts that I've learned. Don't let external client reporting be your only goal. As I said, look into other areas. Don't miss those opportunities to create insightful internal real-time dashboarding. We're working with Amasol on many areas of dashboarding and insight into our information, new tools and templates that make our partners have a better window for looking into the data and helping us to maintain and keep it current. And they've been an incredible partner. So all of those capabilities partner with the people that are accessible to you to do a better job in this area. And don't be afraid to predict. This is an interesting one for analytics and reporting. I know it's only one bullet, but I don't want to minimize it. It can be a very scary thing to do predictive analytics, because you always are having to say, this is predictive, this is not, this could change. But don't be afraid to make that statement and do the predictive analytics that your company needs. Sometimes service level management is the single source of truth, and that's something I'm going to talk about next here. Okay, so data and information. First of all, respect sources of truth. Service level management is not a source of truth for everything, right? There are other. Service level management is a source of truth to a very specific area. So be the right source of truth, but don't replicate other sources of truth. If there are other, one of the big ones in our industry is our incident and tickets, right? They provide a lot of insight, a lot of feedback. into the performance of our tools and technology. But so we don't want to replicate incident management. We're not incident managers. That's not what we do. We partner with the people who do the incident management. We leverage their systems as a source of truth. And then when we take that impact and align it to the contract, then we are a source of truth for what has been aligned to the contract. So kind of, it's been helpful for me to keep that in mind. Make the content of your data environment center around the thing that no one else has the ability to provide. And then you will find your source of truth. Another thing with data and automation, automate. Often these service level management teams are small teams, maybe not a lot of people. Lean heavily. This is a great place to say, okay, I have impact from all over the organization. I'm going to leverage all of the technology available to me to bring that data in, to align it into my system. I don't have to pick up spreadsheets and pick up flat files and extract things out of emails if I have good technology that'll allow me to either pull directly from the source, then that's great. I can automate that. Have someone drop a file in a location where the automation can pick it up. Those types of things have saved countless hours of legwork and pain. So, and then, as I said before, encourage other groups to use enterprise systems. Often if they find you're doing a good job, then they want you to store more, report more, do more, capture more, but encourage them. Hey, we have a client relationship management tool where the client relationship management data resides. If you update that and I import it into my system, then we'll all be on the same page. So encourage them to use those. This might be just the sort of the antithesis of what I just said, but a few don'ts that I have learned. I try not to store redundant or dated data. I adhere very closely to my retention policies. I try not to ever bring in a single field that I will not make use of. It's wasted space, energy, time. I try very hard, and it can never be 100%, I don't think. But I try very hard not to waste time on manual uploads or formatting or QA if I can put the rules and the import into my environment and automate that. And then this is a hard one. Keep accountability with the people that are providing data, and you can do it very nicely and kindly and ask your partners to provide accurate, complete, quality information to you. A lot of times it goes back to other source systems and getting the information right there. So, but don't be afraid to create accountability and help people understand the consequences of poor quality information. All right. Let's talk about program and some of the vision. Obviously, it has to be able to grow and change with the organization. That means you have to stay a step ahead to keep the program ready for the needs that are going to be there tomorrow. And that requires a little bit of foresight and some time spent thinking. Another thing I like to do when I have extra time besides retire and remove things that are unnecessary is think about the program and where it's headed and where it needs to be in 6 months or a year. And keep governance where necessary. Governance can be as simple as partners that meet on a monthly basis, or for a little while, if you're going through a period of change, we have created steering committees that will meet weekly for a period of maybe 6 weeks until the change is implemented. It has been tremendously successful for us to have those steering committees and engage the correct resources in governance. And once you've had the best practice and you've got best practices in place, everything else, just be willing to let things go that are not either under your control or are really part of your program and your needs. Some things to not do that I found. Don't fail to explore self-service options. I know there have been a lot of different opinions about this area, but I have grown to believe that when I allow people to participate and have self-service to the data, to the maybe an ability to update or change information, maybe an ability to bring new contract SLAs in, maybe an ability to pull their SLA reports by themselves when it's time and everything has been approved. That they have a vested interest, and you will find that they are very strong, very good partners for you. And don't view the SLM program one-dimensionally. I always have used Venn diagrams. I'm going to show you one. I have always used Venn diagrams to sort of capture all of the pillars. So let's look at that. I've been talking about these, so this should maybe sound familiar by now, but the business and for contract negotiation, approval, data governance. I won't read all of these to you, but you can have this and review it. Technology, owning source systems, automation, new capability development. These are great tools to leverage. Sales, they are on the front lines. They are your partners in standardization, really working with them to make sure that what you sell is standard across the board. It will create consistency for your customers. It will make your SLA program much more possible and manageable. And it will allow you to know what is feasible to be able to offer. So working tightly and closely with sales is incredibly important in this process. Billing and invoicing from finance, predictive modeling using invoice totals, depending on how your SLAs are set up, if you offer percentages for missed quality or flat dollar amounts for missed quality, that it's really important to not only to work with finance to provide that information to them, but then also once finance knows the impact from a monetary perspective, to give that information back to you so that then you can create your analytics environment using that information. Incredibly powerful. And then legal and risk, making sure that contract language is standardized, making sure that they're aware of risks or high dollar impacts or anything like that that might occur. And for advisory support, I've had some very wonderful, wonderful advisors from our legal teams that have worked with me to help me shape the program. They've been wonderful supports, and I highly recommend partnering with them. Okay, so I put these all together for you into just one slide in case you'd like to use them as a sort of a cheat sheet. And this will just sort of give you an overview, so I won't spend any time on it, but it's here for you if you would like, and it sort of restates some of the things that we discussed. All right, so this is a quote from Alfred Edward Perlman. He was a railroad executive back when railroads were just being built across continents, across countries. I can't imagine all of the moving parts and all of the work it took to bring all of those things together. He had this quote, and I felt it was very interesting. He said, "After you've done a thing the same way for 2 years, look it over carefully. After 5 years, look at it with suspicion. And after 10 years, throw it away and start all over." And that's a hard thing to do. But my challenge to you would be that in the world we live in today, this was 1800s. In the world we live in today, I would challenge you that you could change the word years for quarters in our world today. If you have done something the same way for 2 years, make sure you go back and just check and make sure that it's working, it's functional, it's beneficial. After 5 quarters, so that'd be a year and a quarter, look at it with suspicion and just check it very carefully. And after 10 quarters, that would be about 2.5 years, just understand that there are going to be things that will need to be completely renovated on that fast of a times table. And I have found this true. And again, I know that one of the main messages I'm bringing today is just to embrace change and to be prepared for it and to be ahead of the curve. So that's what I had prepared to share with you today. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I appreciate so much Amasol and the BizOps Forum giving me the opportunity to share with you today. Look forward to getting to know more of you and what you're involved in. So thank you.